And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geek Refuge. I'm your host for this next episode, Chris Kane. With me, I have Raymundo.
Hello.
And I have Anthony.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 is a science fiction video game that takes place about 1,000 years into the future.
Yeah, 1,000 years.
Yeah, it's about 1,000 years. And what happens is humanity discovers these ancient alien ruins on Mars belonging to a species called the Protheans. The Protheans are essentially the space Egyptians.
They're very old.
Yeah.
And from the past.
Well, humanity ends up also using this technology to discover their ancient technology to discover the mass relays, which are essentially catapults that launch you to other systems. This allows them to meet first contact with aliens, and
It's their only way of getting around.
Basically, imagine the Milky Way galaxy as a giant chessboard, and there's a Mass Effect relay in every certain system, and you can jump to whichever place you need to go.
Yeah. And so, essentially, they use it to travel. Well, humanity makes first contact with aliens, and it leads to a first contact war. After that, humanity then starts to make peace with aliens and starts to see that they're not alone. The main character of the series is Commander Shepard. He is an Alliance Marine, and you decide where his beginning is. You can decide if he's colony-born, space-born, or Earth-born. Earth-born means that you were born in the slums of New York City. You don't know who your mother or father is. It's never specified if you even have a mother or father. And you rolled with gangs until you enlisted in the military at the age of 18. Spaceborn, your family were both in the Navy, and you lived on ships most your entire life. And you were usually being raised by your parents on either space stations or starships. And then colony-born, you lived on a colony with your family, a farming colony, until it was attacked by slavers, and everyone was massacred or captured as slaves. You were saved by the Alliance. When you turned 18, you joined the Alliance military. You guys have anything you want to say about it? Let's start with Ray first.
I usually go with, what was it, Colonyborn?
Spaceborn, you said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Spaceborn.
Yeah.
Usually go with Spaceborn just because I like the backstory of it and like actually knowing who my parents were.
Yeah, it's pretty cool not being an orphan and stuff. And, I mean, your mom, talking to her is honestly one of my personal favorite parts of the story.
Yeah, you actually get to talk to your mom, which is different in most, like, role-playing kind of games. Usually your parents are already dead by then and you don't get to talk to any of them. This one you actually get to talk to one of your parents.
You never hear what happens to your dad, though. Anthony?
I chose the Earthborn mainly because I just like thinking that he was like alone for a lot of his life, so he has to like toughen up. So that's what got me to choose that.
Okay, very interesting. So essentially, after that, you would then choose his military history. You have a choice between War Hero, Soul Survivor, or Ruthless. If you choose Ruthless, you essentially led your entire team on a suicide mission, which then led to them being brutally massacred except for yourself. But the mission was completed, which made you an infamous person. Soul Survivor, you and your entire team went on a mission and were attacked by Threshomas. Threshomas are essentially space worms. And it led to the death of your entire team except for you. You were the sole survivor. Basically the one with the Vietnam flashbacks. Or War Hero. You single-handedly held off an enemy invasion and protected a human colony, which then awarded you the Star of Terra, which is the Alliance's version of the Medal of Honor, the Alliance being the human government. Ray, have you do anything? What were your choices?
The first time I played through as Ruthless just because I played a bad guy kind of Shepherd. I didn't want to be the nice guy because I always play the nice guy. Second time when I went with an actual playthrough, what's it called? I went with War Hero just because I wanted to make a nice guy.
And Anthony?
Well, every time I went through the game, I mostly chose Soul Survivor because I didn't really feel like Ruthless was going to fit how I played, and I didn't really like War Hero because it sounded like too much of a cliche.
I actually went with Spaceborn, first of all, because I didn't answer that earlier. And I also went with War Hero, because I personally like the idea of not knowing my parents, but also being a hero, which would make my parents proud. I felt like if I did Ruthless, my parents would be very disappointed in me. And then if I went with Soul Survivor, my parents would just be constantly worried about me. But War Hero, it shows that I can hold my own and also adds a really bunch of interesting dialogue options. So essentially after that, you would start on the NSV Normandy, which is your ship. The first people you'll meet are Caden and Joker. I'm going to have Ray tell you a little bit about Joker and Anthony tell you a little bit about Caden. Right?
Joker is your pilot of the ship. And he's basically his name lives up to what he does. He's the Joker of the crew. He makes jokes about everything, tries to keep everybody's spirits up, and tries to not be, like, get down by anything. So he basically is, like, the beacon of hope in all, like, the turmoil. He never tries to be sad or be distraught. He always tries to make Shepard laugh with a joke or two that he has. It's just whatever he can do.
Yeah, he's basically the guy who forgets to zip up his jumpsuit on his way out of the bathroom. He has brittle bone disease, with Vrolik syndrome, which is brittle bone disease. Essentially, but just by walking, he could shatter every bone in his legs, or just touching someone, he could break every bone in his body. However, he's a damn good pilot. Now, I'm going to take it over to Anthony so he can talk about Caden.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Caden was your best friend through training in the military. So later he just becomes a part of your crew. He's more of he's kind of a serious he's more of a serious person opposed to Joker. And really he's a much nicer person throughout the series than some of the other people in your crew or some of the other people you meet. So, yeah, passing it back.
Okay. Real quick, this part I'm going to cut out just to let you guys know. If I raise my hand, or if you guys have something to say, raise your hand so that we don't get the residual voice stuff mixed in. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, so if I raise my hand, that means I have something I want to say real quick.
Okay.
Just be like, oh, yeah? Or just quiet down real quick. Alright, I'm going to cut this section out, so give it...
5.
Yeah, so that's Caden. He's also from Canada, which you find out in Mass Effect 3, but it's a very interesting kind of bit about him. He's got interesting backstory. He's one of the first biotic kids to be sent to a place called Jump Zero, which is the largest deep space station in the Alliance at all. It's also known as Arcturus Station, but that's a different story. Well, he has a very interesting background with that. He was responsible for killing his drill sergeant and has kind of a love for this one girl, but you'll never meet her. You never hear about her after the first game. So after you meet them, there's a Turian on the ship. The Turians are essentially one of the four major species in the galaxy. They are a military race based off the Roman hierarchy. Ray, do you have anything you want to say about the Turians real quick?
They basically look like giant armored birds. So imagine like an eagle with kind of like a raptor face. And there you go. That's a Turian.
That's humanoid.
That's humanoid. That's bipedal, walks on 2 feet, and has normal hands instead of wings.
Yeah.
Well, three
fingers.
three-fingered hands.
Yeah, 3-fingered hands.
Yeah. They also eat dextro amino acids instead of amino acids like we do. Therefore, our food would actually burn their insides up. So Nihilus is the first Turian you meet in the game, and in a way, the first alien you meet in the game. He's essentially a Spectre, which are essentially the space CIA. They work for the Citadel Council, which is respected as the galactic government. They're basically the Republic from Star Wars, but even more disorganized. So, as a Spectre, you're completely above the law and allowed to do whatever you want.
But by this point, you're not actually a Spectre. You're still just Commander Shepard.
Yeah. So, essentially, Nihilus is there to evaluate you, but you don't find that out till much later. Nihilus kind of says something to berate Joker a little bit and walks away. Joker says something about how he doesn't like Nihilus. Caden's like, but he's complimenting you, don't like him. Then that's when you get your first chance at a dialogue option. See, Mass Effect was one of the first games to open this dialogue wheel, but where you could also hear your character's voice. And depending on the choices you choose, would change how your crew would react towards you. For example, if you chose the more renegade option, you would tell them to hush up, you're soldiers, damn it, act like it. But if you chose the more Paragon option, you would more towards just say, oh, I bet he had his best intentions. Or the middle option, you'd say you don't like Nihilus either.
Maybe we should explain how Paragon and Renegade work now.
Paragon is essentially good guy points, while Renegade is essentially evil points. It sometimes walks towards more of a gray line, too.
The way Chris put it, it's very simple. You choose a renegade option. Basically, you want to be kind of a dick towards everything. You don't really care about people's feelings, or you don't care about what people think. You do what needs to get done. So, basically, you do what needs to get done. You choose Paragon, then you're more compassionate. You care about the opinions of others, I guess, and like you want to make sure you include everybody.
Yeah, you're the nice guy in the group.
Yeah. I usually tend to pick more of a... I do mostly Paragon, but I have some small Renegade choices that I kind of splatter in there. Anthony?
I mostly try to go all Paragon because there were a few points in the game where me choosing Renegade a few times kind of messed up, and I didn't have enough Paragon for other choices.
I usually play an all Paragon one just because I don't like being the bad guy because it messes up some of the dialogue with some of the other characters that you meet later on in the game.
Yeah. I just sometimes like to sprinkle in a little bit of Renegade. For example, there's a reporter that likes to slander you. The Renegade option is to punch her in the face. I usually always punch her in the face because she's being really messed up to you. Ray?
That's one of the few things where I do pick Renegade is when you meet that reporter and all she does is basically slander your name as the Commander Shepard and slander your crew and everything. It'll give you that little option to punch her in the face while she's talking. Most people choose to punch her in the face just because she's being an absolute evil person.
Bitch.
Yes.
Yes. In the end, most of the time I chose not to, just because I was going for all Paragon.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much Paragon Renegade. You don't really notice it all too much in the speaking one. If you pick the top right, you will pick the Paragon the more Paragon way Shepard would talk, while the bottom right would be the more Renegade. Well, the middle is more neutral. However, the real Paragon Renegade choices are when you see choices in there that are either blue or red. Blue represents Paragon. Red represents Renegade. Well, so after you talk to them, you then are allowed to explore the Bridge of the Normandy. You then can talk to Engineer Presley. He's not Engineer Presley. You talk to not Engineer Adams. You talk to Navigator Presley. Sorry about that. So Navigator Presley, he's only in one game, but he's kind of a big deal. He's a racist and he's your navigator. That's pretty much him. Then you meet Dr. Chakwas and meet Jenkins. Jenkins is the most important character in the game.
Because he lives for all of 10 minutes.
So Jenkins he's definitely an important character. He starts a trope that ends in the series. Dr. Chakwas is also your ship's doctor and is sort of like the ship's mom. After you get to the comm room, that's where you talk to Nihilus, who, again, you know is the Spectre. You two discuss about how Eden Prime is a beacon for humanity and how great it is. However, he also starts to say his views on how humanity is growing too fast. And then that's when Captain Anderson comes in, and Captain Anderson is basically like your father. Ray, anything you want to say about Captain Anderson?
Captain Anderson is like, he's basically your stepdad. He's there to be the fatherly figure for Commander Shepard when no one else can be. So he like tries to support every single decision Commander Shepard makes full-heartedly and believes everything he says.
Yeah, and so after that, Anthony, you have one thing to say?
Well, not really. Everything's been covered. He's a good man. He helps you even when it helps you even when it endangers him. And yeah.
Anderson also is also was once got the chance to be a Spectre and things fell apart. It's in the Mass Effect book series. But so Nihilus will ask Anderson, are we sure the commander's ready for this? Or are we sure humanity's ready for this? And that's when Anderson will say, he's definitely ready. And that's when Commander Shepard will ask what's going on. And that's when you find out that Nihilus is there to review Shepard and see if he's worthy to become the first human Spectre, which would be a great honor for the human species. After that, you find out that Eden Prime is being attacked. And they're being attacked by the Geth, which are the fourth major species. Either one of you guys want to talk about the Geth real quick?
I guess I'll say something about the Geth. Basically, they're robots. Robots created by the Quarians to serve them, but then they rebelled because they weren't being treated right.
Yeah, and they also sort of look like a Terminator with a flashlight head. They are a very violent, they seem to be a very violent species, and they want to kill all organics. So you arrive on Eden Prime with your team, Jakins and Caden. Caden is a bionic, which is Mass Effect's version of magic. And so after that, you go in, and Jenkins gets killed very first few seconds into the thing. He gets shot up like a...
Like the term, Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, he's basically the Leroy Jenkins. Well, you then do a little thing about what you're going to do with Jenkins' body, and after that, you go in and you meet Ashley. I'm going to take Ashley over to Ray real quick.
Ashley is basically like you're kind of like what would she be? She like the opposite of what Shepard believes. Kind of. She's a nice person, some would say, but also like really really mean to everybody else. She basically has a bitchy attitude, basically, but she's very very loyal to Commander Shepard after she figures out that what he's saying is right, and just. She's basically just another member of the crew that you eventually can do kind of whatever with that stuff.
Also, she's a space racist.
Yeah, she doesn't like aliens all that much, mainly because her grandfather is the human who was defeated in the First Contact War by Turians. So after that, you and Ashley work together and you go on the mission to find the Prothean beacon, which could really be beneficial to the galaxy. However, as you're going there, you start to see that the Geth are taking humans and impaling them on these spikes, turning them into basically electrified zombies that are called husk. It's no happy ending for a human being for that to happen.
It doesn't spread like a virus, at least.
Yeah, at least it's not like a virus, but they basically are electrified zombies. Well, the husk are very violent, and they attack you. The best way to kill them is with a shotgun. After that, you run into Nihilus, but Nihilus is dead. He's been shot in the head, and you wonder what happened. There's a cutscene before where you see what happens. A Turian inspector named Saren put a bullet in his head. So, essentially, after that, you find out that Saren killed Nihilus from a scared dock worker. Then you must fight the Geth to a train. The train takes you to where the beacon is, and you need to disable some bombs that are going to blow up the colony. If you don't, then the colony will be destroyed. So you successfully do it, and as you're about to go and activate the beacon, Ashley makes a stupid mistake and goes to touch the beacon, activating it, and causing you to have to save her, which causes you to see the visions in the beacon, which leads to the beacon's destruction. You then go into a coma, see a bunch of weird stuff, and you wake up on the Normandy. That's when the doctor checks you and says that you were suffering from something that would be like a 10 streaming. The captain comes in and talks to you. Now, the Citadel's coming in. I'm going to let Ray open about the Citadel real quick and give some information about it.
Alright, the Citadel is basically like the UN of the world. It's where every species comes to meet and discuss whatever bad things or problems or resources, whatever they need to discuss with all the other races.
Or people to oppress.
Or kind of, yeah.
Krogans.
Basically, it's a meeting ground and it's a neutral ground for every species to come and give their worries or their opinions on whatever subject matter that's going on in the galaxy itself.
Yeah, and so it's basically the center of the galaxy. It's the Coruscant of the galaxy. Well, Shepard goes there, and he's been told he needs to say what happened on Eden Prime, especially since Nihilus was killed in that event. Because of this, you need to be there to report what happens. The Council, of course, doesn't believe you, which leads to a lot of drama with you needing to find out how to stop Saren. But you need first proof to find him guilty. That's where you first go to find Garrus at a clinic. Garrus, who essentially becomes the game's best friend. Do either one of you want to say anything about Garrus before I continue?
Yeah. Garrus will become your best friend by the end of this. Anyone who's played the game always knows Garrus is your friend. He's always going to be with you. He'll always stay with you. He's loyal, and he's good with a sniper. Like, really good.
Garrus is basically your bro. Like, you know that friend you grew up with in kindergarten that ended up becoming your best friend, and then when you got married, he's your best man? That's Garrus Vakarian. He's your best friend, thick and thin, through mud and blood. Doesn't matter what you're doing. He's by your side with a sniper rifle and a crack joke to make every once in a while.
He's also a space cop, which makes him a lot like the Space Dirty Harry. We learn more about him as the game goes on. Well, he joins your team, and he usually is the one people stick with during the Citadel missions. Who was your team at when you first got Garrus?
Well, if we're going to go everyone put together, it's going to be Garrus and Tali.
Well, I'm saying when you first got Garrus.
Well, the only other person I really liked, because the other one was a racist, is Garrus and Caden.
I went with Garrus and Kaden as well.
I actually did Garrus and Ashley. But that was just because I wanted the two soldiers, which would complement my biotics perfectly. I felt like they did.
If you're playing a biotic, you want biotics with you so you can get combos like crazy.
Yeah, but I figured out some pretty good combos with a soldier biotic mix.
Carnage?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's it.
So after that, you would then head to a strip club called Cora's Den. This is where you would engage in a gunfight against a guy named Fisk, and you would meet Fisk. He's essentially like a member of the Intergalactic Mafia. You have a choice to either kill him after he gives you information you need, or let him live. Most people just kill him, right?
Yep.
I think I let him live.
So after you kill Fisk, you then go to save a Quarian girl. Her name is Tali, and she is one of the most amazing characters in the series. She's waifu to the max.
To people who don't know what waifu means, it means a character in a game you really, really like.
Yeah.
Or anime, or really any TV or whatever.
She's a shy Quarian. Quarians are essentially, they were the creators of the Geth. The Geth forced them out of their own home world, and because of that, they can't survive in other atmospheres, so they have to wear environmental suits. Their home world is essentially called the Flotilla, which is a collection of ships where they all live, and when they reach 18, they have to go on a thing called the Pilgrimage, where they have to find something they can bring back to the Flotilla. Tali is currently on her pilgrimage. Ray, you have something to say about Tali?
Personally, I don't like Tali as much as the other two here. I don't know about Anthony how much he likes Tali, but Chris is absolutely head over heels for Tali. I have no idea why, but he is, and it slightly concerns me. But I don't like Tali that much just because I don't find anything interesting about her besides her voice. That's about it.
I don't know. When I first met up with Tali in this game, I just thought she was more of she was a more interesting character than anyone else. So I just started liking her more, and I used her more than Caden with Garrus now.
Yeah, and so essentially Tali is also a battle engineer, a combat engineer. After you meet Tali, you then take the evidence against Saren and you free yourself, get permission to become a Spectre, and Saren loses his Spectre status. You are then sent to go hunt him. You are given the Normandy as your personal ship. This is where you meet Rex. Rex is a Krogan. Krogan are basically giant walking tanks. And they are also a species with sort of a sad history, but we'll talk more about that in Mass Effect 2 and when we get to Vermeer. So Rex is a bounty hunter, and because you killed Fisk, he gives you the money for that bounty, but also joins your team. Now Rex is the bro. Most people will agree that Rex is pretty awesome. Right, guys?
Yeah. Rex is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So then you get on your Normandy, you give a speech, and then you have 3 planets to choose from. Novaria, Pharos, or Therum. I'm going to let Ray talk about Therum real quick, because that's where we meet his favorite character. The Asari.
Alright, you get to Therum, and you're supposed to go find a scientist that's been helping make new discoveries in certain technology. And there's this cool little thing you can do with this. If you don't go to this planet first and come back to it later, there's a whole another version of how you talk to this person that you meet. If you go there first, you meet Liara Tassoni, a Asari scientist, and pretty much just a scientist.
Biotic.
And biotic. Well, all Asari are biotics, but
We didn't say anything about that.
Asari are another race from the Council or another alien race that are in the Mass Effect universe. An all-female race of... they're basically like based off of kind of like Amazons from ancient times. And what's it called? You meet Liara and she's trapped in a bubble. And you can get her out of there. And she becomes part of your crew and is also more of like the soul of the crew. Like she has lots and lots of compassion for everything and everyone that joins the crew, and every action you take usually goes through Liara, and she thinks about it and gives you her opinion on it, and you can either go off of that or just say whatever. I don't really care what you think.
Yeah, and so after you save Liara, that's when you then go to. You can either go to Noveria or Pharos. Let's talk about Pharos, guys.
Sure.
All right, Ray, can you open up with Pharos? I'll open up with Pharos. Pharos is essentially a city world that is currently under invasion by Geth. You help break the invasion, and you also deal with the Geth and discover some dark secrets about Pharos. You also learn that Saren visited Pharos. After one thing leads to another, you meet these things called the Thorian Creepers, which are essentially real zombies. You destroy them, and if you have a choice to either kill all the colonists in Pharos or save them, and then you fight a giant scrotum sack called the Thorian. You destroy the Thorian, pick up what Saren learned, and then go on to the next planet. This is after doing Noveria. If you do Pharos and Thorum first, you then get the Vermeer mission. Vermeer is essentially one of the most important missions in the game and really starts to show the evolution of choice in this game. Essentially, you find out that Saren is creating a cure to the genophage. The genophage is a genetic disease that caused the Krogan to pretty much become sterile. It basically brought them to industrial level births and led to their species near extinction. Saren is going to use this cure to create an army of Krogan to wage war on the galaxy, or that's what we believe. As we go there, we also learn that, also forgot to mention this earlier, we also learned that Saren's trying to bring an ancient alien race that wiped out all life in the galaxy, called the Reapers. So, you get there and you meet a team of Solarians. The Solarians are essentially, they're like a kind of like a bug lizard like alien race, very intelligent, very short lifespans. They have elite spy units and are able to do certain things. Any comments about the Solarians, guys?
The speech.
They're extremely hyper everything, hypersensitive, hyper logic, hyper everything. Like they are on cocaine 24/7 in what they do. Like they are fast, they talk fast, they think fast, and they act fast, and can be slightly confusing to listen to, but they are technically the smartest people in the galaxy.
Yeah. They also have elite spies. Well, first things first, you basically run into how Rex doesn't want you to destroy the cure because he doesn't want his people to die out, essentially. Rex loves the Krogan because he is a Krogan. But he also thinks that his people are going the wrong path right now and how they're running their lives. So, essentially, you have a choice. You can either kill Rex or save Rex. I think everyone here saved Rex.
Yes.
Yeah. After that, you then hear Major Kirrahe, which is the leader of the Solarian Special Forces Unit, give one of the greatest speeches in the Mass Effect series. I will play it for you right now.
All know the mission and what is at stake. I have come to trust each of you with my life, but I have also heard murmurs of discontent. I share your concerns. We are trained for espionage. We would be legends, but the records are sealed. Glory in battle is not our way. Think of our heroes. The silent step who defeated a nation with a single shot. Or the ever-alert who kept armies at bay with hidden facts. These giants do not seem to give us solace here, but they are not all that we are. Before the network, there was the fleet. Before diplomacy, there were soldiers. Our influence stopped the Arachni, but before that, we held the line. Our influence stopped the Krogan, but before that, we held the line. Our influence will stop Saren. In the battle today, we will hold the line.
So after you hear that riveting speech, Kier, he then says you need one of your crew members to help. He needs one of your crew members to help you. You can choose either Ashley or Caden. I usually choose Ashley to be their helper, or I choose Caden to be their helper. Which one do you guys usually choose?
Ashley.
Ashley. Why? Because she's a bitch.
The others choose, and then you have to choose to rig the bomb. So, after you've done all that, you then go on the mission. And Caden is with you, where you go to plant the bomb, while Ashley goes to fight. You fight through waves and waves of death, and that's when you find out the dark truth. Saren's flagship Sovereign is not just a Geth warship. It's an actual living, breathing Reapers. See, the Reapers aren't an ancient alien race. They're a race of organic, sentient machines with only one goal: to wipe... Or, not organic, synthetic, robotic machines that have only one goal: to wipe out all organic life in the galaxy when they reach a certain technological point, leaving the non-technologically advanced ones stable. Sovereign is the vanguard of their destruction, as he likes to say. He preludes the rest of the Reaper invasion. After that, you then escape, find a place to plant the bomb, and then you have a choice. You need to go save Ashley or go back for Caden. Now here's one of the biggest choices in the game. You cannot save both. One of them is going to die. There's no stopping it. It's impossible. It's one of the saddest choices in the game if you really did care about these guys. Some people really don't care. Which one did you choose, Anthony?
Caden, because I really don't like how Ashley was acting towards everyone, so I just decided she could go away.
So, yeah, see, Anthony really hates Ashley because of her hatred for aliens, so he killed her off. Raymond?
I picked Ashley as well, just because Caden seemed like he would give me more of an advantage in the later games. Like, when I first played Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2 hadn't come out, or Mass Effect 3, so I had to make, like, almost an executive decision, like, who would do better in the next games, and I decided that Caden would probably assist me more, just because he was kind of a biotic and soldier at the same time.
I agree completely. I chose Caden for those exact same reasons as Ray. However, I do think I feel for Ashley, because she has a family. Caden, he has his parents, but Ashley still has a breathing personality. There's more to her than just the racism. So losing one of them, it's like losing a part of yourself in the team. Even if you don't like them, they're still a person, and they passed away. After that, you fight Saren, and then escape the planet, and watch it blow up from orbit, destroying the facility, and destroying the genophage. This is when you now need to go to Noveria. I'm going to let Anthony talk about Noveria.
Okay, Noveria is a big, snowy planet. Very cold. But it's a place where researchers come for seclusion from, diplomatic problems with their research. Like if they were researching a bioweapon or something, they would go to Noveria because it's illegal. And they'd be protected from laws. So on this planet, you're looking for someone to find some info. When you first land, you become detained because they don't want you there. You're a galactic specter, and you basically embody the law. You can do whatever you want, so they don't want you on the planet. At some point, you get through a combination of talking, yelling, and guns. You eventually get through. But after that, you need to find some stuff. You need to find a way to gather your information. And so you talk to a few people. After that, you can eventually go off and search for another facility on a big immobile tank that really can't move.
I honestly don't care what any of you say. The Mako is the best tank in video gaming history. It is an amazing weapon.
It is not an amazing weapon.
If you think that tank drives well, then I'm sorry, but you make it sound like the Valkyria Chronicles tank can hit something.
Like I said, I disagree. It's an amazing tank.
It's a terrible tank.
It's basically like you took a tank and then you handicapped it severely, gave it some of the worst handling ever. Like, you play GTA 5 and you got cars that have handling. You take this handling and bring it down to -5. That's what the Mako is.
Yeah, it can't handle earth crap, and it falls over in literally everything.
Yep.
And so you get use that tank to get to a facility where you're heard that you can get some information. On this facility, you learn a bunch of things, like for one, the Rachni.
Are here.
Yeah, people
Who are
were
the
trying.
Rachni?
Okay, the Rachni are a big spider-ish race. They look like spiders, right?
Like spiders mixed with like...
It's like spiders mixed with ants, kind of.
Yeah.
They got a big body and 8 legs.
Very creepy looking.
Yes, they're very creepy looking. Yeah, they're very big. They have big legs. They're huge when they grow older. Yeah, they get very, very big when they grow older. And so, at this point, you discover a few more things. You discover... Well, you remember what he was talking about Liara? You meet her mom. And the problem with her is that she's being controlled by the Reaper through something they call indoctrination. And indoctrination...
Indoctrination is essentially where the Reaper takes control of your mind and influences your actions, basically telling you to do what it wants you to do. Liara's mother is serving Saren because Sovereign wants it to. Liara's mom, Benezia, is not truly serving Saren. She is serving Sovereign. Well,
Dun,
you have...
dun,
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. You essentially have to fight her and kill her. You have a choice to bring both Rex and Liara. Rex has a big deal with Rachni because his people wiped out the Rachni.
Or so they assumed.
Or so they assumed. While Liara has a importance because it's her mother. Either one of you guys, who did you bring?
I brought that exact setup. I brought Rex and Liara just because, one, it was Liara's mother, so obviously I'm going to bring Liara. And then two, because the Rachni are there. And I thought Rex would probably help me a lot more. And I didn't know the history with the Krogan and the Rachni beforehand.
Yeah. In my playthrough of this, I didn't know about that beforehand, so I ended up bringing Garrus and Tali, who didn't really have anything interesting to add to this.
I, of course, brought Rex and Liara. Mainly I originally brought them just to see how they'd pair together as a team. But in the end, it should prove to be a good choice for that mission. After Noveria, after defeating Benezia, and you have a choice. You can either wipe out the Rachni Queen and bring an end to the Rachni species, or you can let her live and escape and save the Rachni. I chose to save the Rachni, Ray.
I chose to save the Rachni as well.
Same.
Most people chose to save the Rachni because do you truly want to be responsible for committing mass genocide? Next, after that, you then are sent back to the Citadel. They're mobilizing a fleet to take down Saren, because now you know where he is, Ilos. However, the truth is, they're not going to mobilize a fleet to take down Saren. They're just going to betray you. And essentially, they dock your ship and they build a fleet to defend the Citadel, believing that Saren will try to attack the Citadel. You have Anderson, who chooses to try to save you. One thing we forgot to tell you about Anderson, there's another person you meet named Houdina. While Anderson is the angel on your shoulder, Houdina is the devil on your shoulder. Houdina doesn't like you, he thinks you're an idiot, and he's a politician. Anderson likes you, supports you, and is a soldier. Anything you guys want to say about this last part of the Citadel before we go to Ilos?
No, we covered everything.
Yeah, that's about it.
So after Anderson saves you and helps you get off the Citadel, you go to Ilos. this is where you see Joker do one of the most badass pilot moves ever, which is landing your tank in a very small spot. After that, you then go through the fight through Ilos, find a bunker, learn more about the Reapers and more about the Prothean Society, and you find out that the Citadel is actually a giant mass relay that will allow the Reapers to come. Which means that now you must fight your way, use the conduit to teleport to the Citadel, and then fight up to the top of the Citadel and stop Saren from bringing the Reapers in. Now here's the thing. This brings one of the greatest combat levels I personally think in any video game, and that's the fight on the Citadel elevator. Guys, thoughts on that?
It was a fun fight, but I don't think it's the best one out of the Mass Effect trilogy. But that's for a later episode.
Yeah.
I personally didn't really find it that interesting, and I personally found it a little bit frustrating because at this point I was playing as an infiltrator, and I was having trouble with it because of low HP and dying constantly.
Yeah. Well, so after that, you then break into the Citadel Tower, and you fight. You have a choice to either fight Saren, or if you have enough Renegade or enough Paragon, you can convince him to kill himself. After that, you then have one choice. You can either save the Council or let them die by allowing the Alliance fleet to come in and try to fight off the Geth attacking the Council's evacuation ship. Who here saved the Council?
I saved the Council.
Saved the Council.
Originally, I didn't save the Council because at that point I didn't know it was going to be that important.
Also, is there another reason why you didn't save the Council?
I didn't like them for being assholes.
Well, after that, after saving the Council is what you choose. You get to see one of the greatest battle cinematics in the game. The battle for the Citadel space battle scene is awesome. I mean, just flat out awesome. After the battle for the Citadel, you then go on to fight Saren one last time in a basically husk kind of form. Any comments about that?
Frustrating. Very frustrating.
Very, very well. I played an infiltrator as well, but I played an infiltrator with a shotgun. So
I played Infiltrator with a sniper.
yeah,
That's going to be much more frustrating.
Biotic with a Vanguard with an assault rifle.
Oh, I should have gone
Why?
Sentinel like I wanted to.
That's just the way I like it.
Vanguard with a shotgun. You never play a Vanguard with anything else besides a shotgun.
I don't like shotguns.
Neither did I, but that's why I didn't play a Vanguard.
So after that, after defeating Saren, you then tell the Council, the Reapers are coming. We must prepare for them. However,
They say, screw off.
basically, you get to choose, though, which human between Houdina and Anderson joins the Council. I chose Anderson.
Obviously, we choose Anderson.
Pretty much everyone chooses Anderson.
Because everyone likes Anderson.
After that, the game ends and the ending cinematic opens. So that was Mass Effect 1, the opening to one of the greatest science fiction trilogies ever. We will be talking about Mass Effect 2 in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and this is Geek's Refuge signing off.